Musolo, 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 my. Mana menenda mai waje nikufuna nikite nao uyuke. Mana menenda mai waje nikufuna.
Skanking, moving, hallelujah. Skanking, moving, hey, me, Jaja, yeah. Skanking, moving, under pressure, yeah. Skanking, grooving, under the pressures of a life and it tough. No stay down, mama, time to get up. No matter with the down, full style, strictly up, full vibes. I pick it up when the bills, them, the rent and the mortgage due. Yeah, yeah. When me chalice, when your best friends are gone and it's only you. Yeah, like a past, lift on up the music. Skanking sweet. Everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and rock with me. You know, feel a reggae music sweet, yeah, yeah. Skanking sweet. Everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and rock with me. You know, feel a reggae music sweet, yeah, yeah. Skanking sweet. For every pain there's a melody, yeah. For every trouble there's a harmony that brings everything together. So make us sing together. And who said life no order? And every man got this struggle. I beg you to help me, Lord, and let me overcome my troubles. Skanking sweet, everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and rock with me. You know, feel a reggae music sweet, yeah, yeah. Skanking sweet, everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and rock with me. You know, feel a reggae music sweet, yeah. Skanking sweet. We skanking till our morning come. Until the day when my troubles are gone. Hallelujah. We're grooving in our jazz. We're grooving on my troubles away. Everybody wanna feel like your troubles and the rockin'. You know, feel a reggae music sweet, yeah. Skank. Everybody wanna feel like me. Forget your troubles and the rockin'. You know, feel a reggae music sweet, yeah. So skanking, everybody wanna feel like me. Forget your troubles and the rock with me. Skanking, grooving, yeah. Everybody was skanking sweet. Everybody was skanking sweet. Body was skanking sweet. Everybody was skanking sweet, yeah. Skanking. I wanna be skanking. I'm gonna be skanking. I'm gonna be skanking. Whoa.
All right, yes, Dominica, Dominicans, those of you on this blessed rock, welcome aboard. Those of you in the region, and all those of you further afield, pleasant greetings and welcome to you. All of those of you who are new to this program, with social media, there's always some new pairs of eyes and ears listening and watching. So I want to say a special good evening to all of you out there at this time. This program is called Civic Vibes. Again, I want to repeat, the name of this program is called Civic Vibes. It is aired each and every Sunday from 6 o'clock in Dominica. We are streaming this program live on 2 social media platforms, primarily Facebook and also on YouTube. And yes, we are live here with you guys at this time. It is 5 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock in Dominica and the region in which we live. That is the time. And so we're just getting you warmed up to this song of Brother Chronix, indeed, Skanking Sweet, starting with this one. This Sunday is a very good Sunday, and we're going to have a very energetic, a very youthful program, as it were. Last 2 weeks, we were on this very all-important topic of why, just why, government budgets matter to all of us, the citizenry. And so we heard from for the past 2 weeks, that is, from two economists in Dominica, in the names of Mr. Joshua Francis, he's a lawyer by profession, and also Mr. Claudius Sanford, a teacher at the college in Dominica. These two gentlemen basically laid the foundation for the conversation that we're going to have here this evening with this very enterprising, very bright, I call him young brother, Mr. Dupy, indeed. So folks, this evening, Alvin Thomas is not here with us. At least for now. He basically sent in his apology for not being here with you guys this evening. Alvin is celebrating a big number this evening in terms of age. When he gets here next week, he will tell you all about that big number and all about the celebration. So Alvin, wherever you are this time, Civic Vibes, we share that joy with you on that milestone, and also all your friends here and followers as well. So do enjoy your big day, Alvin Thomas, indeed. Those of our friends already here, thank you for your eyes and ears, as I normally say each and every time. It is 6 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock, indeed. Yeah, we're going to have a very enterprising conversation, a sort of a continuation, as it were, on that all-important topic of just why government's budget or government budgets matter to all of us, the citizenry, no matter even we live in Dominica, wherever you have parliament and you have budgetary representations being doled out to you, the citizenry, each and every year, whatever time of year it is. So we're going to continue on that all-important topic. But this evening, we sort of, gave it a little twist. The young people of any country, their voice is very, very important. And so this evening, we're going to have one of those voices. Mr. Dupy is a young man. I consider him to be a very enterprising young man, what I've heard of him so far. In terms of, his output, as it were, as a young man. He's a no-nonsense young man. And so you're going to hear a little bit of his discussion with us this evening as to, some aspects of the budget pass. He's going to touch on a couple topics that he would like to, tell you guys or inform you guys much more on. And also, from his perspective, what can the youth get and what they're looking for in terms of these budget presentations that come across every year, indeed. So the youth in the person of Mr. Dupy, he will have his say, they will have their say this evening. So if you have a young man, if you have a young woman in your company at this time, you're watching this program, please share that live with them. Let them know that program is on, and their take, their suggestion, their input, as it were, is very, very critical, and we would like to hear from the young people, as it were, this evening, indeed. We know the older folks, they're always there with us, and thank you very much, but we're making a special appeal this evening to our more youthful, the more energetic young people among us. This night is your night, specially dedicated to you. And so you're going to hear from one of your peers. I know he will not disappoint tonight in terms of the deliveries, and we are well waiting to hear from Brother Luciano Dupy, indeed. Without saying much more, before I come to you guys on the live feed to call some of you by name, let me just move across in a very special way and say a big good evening. Brother Dupy, good evening to you, sir, in a very special way, and welcome to the Vibes. Welcome to Civic Vibes. That program is aired each and every Sunday, just about that time.
Good evening, Lofty. I hope, the viewers can hear me clearly. I just want to say good evening to you, Lofty, and thanks very much for having me on this wonderful, vibrant show. Of course, I want to say good evening to the listeners across Dominica and in the diaspora as well. More so the young people who are tuning in slowly from the town of Portsmouth. I want to say good evening to you all as well. Some may know me as Lucci. Lofty, you may call me Mr. Dupy. Um, but, my name is Luciano Dupy, and I'm from the constituency of Portsmouth. I'm just 30 years of age, so I'm still considered.
Where exactly in Portsmouth, Lucci?
Well, let's just say where we call Capowell.
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 Oh, Capowell. Okay.
Yes, it's right there after you pass the market and that first bridge bringing you into Lago Portsmouth.
Okay.
I'm right there. I grew up, I would call it the heart of Portsmouth, Portsmouth Secondary School, which I attended, the Catholic Church, which I'm a member of as well. And right there close to the Benjamin's Park, where I take time off to play volleyball, sometimes coach netball as well with the young athletes. So I'm well-rounded, I'm well-rounded.
So you basically were living in the vicinity of former Prime Minister Mr. Douglas himself.
Very much so. And what I can tell you from my recollection as well, I remember, my grandfather, who was a fisherman, he used to bring me down by the bay. And you do know Rosie had that nice little house right there by the market.
Right there.
And, I used to see him, shy little boy, but I could remember my days seeing Rosie, in the town of Portsmouth, right there by the bay, even with the fisherman, always having a discussion and always, encouraging them, to help bring Portsmouth to the standards that it should be, of course. So yeah, it's right there in the heart, right there.
Yeah. Lucci, on a side there, seeing that we are on Rosie now, Rosie's house, since he passed, have you seen it of late?
I would say yes. And my yes is not one with enthusiasm, yes. Because Rosie House, right there by the market in that Four Corner Road, I was expecting it to be somewhat of a historic site or that of a museum. And right now, it's just down to rubbles. As a man who was once a great leader of our nation and also a great leader in the town of Portsmouth, I was expecting to have some sort of museum, some sort of, I would not say statue, but headpiece, so forth, to bring back the memories when people see that, or people could go there and take pictures, to relieve the life that he walked when he was prime minister and as well minister in opposition also, let's not forget that, and held the town of Portsmouth steady at one point in time.
Well, Brother Lucci, I asked you that question and you basically preempted the answer that I was thinking of, in that every time, a matter of fact, I think I passed Portsmouth 3 weeks ago, thereabout, and every time I pass that area by the market where Rosie used to live, it really brings some sadness to my heart as to a man who did so much for Portsmouth, did so much for Dominica, did so much for the region, and he is well known globally. To see where he lived today, it is really lamentable. And the people who are there now basically enjoying the fruits of his labor, as it were. I really cannot fathom now as to where these guys' minds are at, and also, what is going on in their heads, because at least something should be placed there. His house could have been turned, as you said, into a museum, some gallery, some history center, something, so that at least that great legacy, that great memory of this great brother, would have been there with us for timely memorial. But I must say, alas, it is really and truly not a pretty sight. And the house is basically just deteriorating away.
It is. And let me what I do like to say is that I'm straight shooter. I'm gonna be straightforward. Let's not say nothing is being done. The downstairs is being renovated, I can see, but it's not nothing of historical use. It's just to put a business, from the last time I inquired. And nothing that I know of the upstairs is going to be done. And I said, from a town in Portsmouth as well, I always want to see more for my people. I always said that Portsmouth has created high-class individuals in the sense of well-educated individuals that, whether be it in sports, if you're looking at education or leadership, has always brought a good name to the town of Portsmouth. And, recognition. I see it as recognition, and I see it out of respect as well for a past leader, who once led the country, as I said, and the town of Portsmouth, who had a vision to build Portsmouth into something better, but right now, as we can see, history is of the past, because we do see what's happening in the town of Portsmouth right now.
Wow, indeed. That's another conversation we have to have sometime, which in terms of, yes, as to, just the life and times of the man himself, the great man, Rosie Douglas, indeed, and what is going on now with some of the people who are there, as I said before, reaping some of the fruits of his labor. Much more to be said on that. But let's get back on track, as it was 16 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. Welcome those of you who are just tuning in at this time. Mali Austria there, good evening to you. Rosa Robinson, Brother Truns, good evening to you in a very special way. I met your sister the other day, I believe, Truns. Very nice lady indeed. Ivinia Joseph Ferdinand, Lawrence, good evening to you. Alifia Deja, you're also there. Lean Loda, Carol Bruni, you're also there. Florence Francis, Claraline Warrington, that is one of the usual suspects. Good evening to you. Ramona St. Rose, up in the Bath Estate area, good evening to you as well. Marvella Defoe, Brother John Blanchard, you're there, good evening as well. Edna Ernest, Marshall Lawrence, D. Rose, a Rose indeed from Dominica, living out there, doing good work for on behalf of your country. Good evening to you indeed. Ferdinand Lawrence right here. Portsmouth is really a sad state. Seems like the same paint that was on the building in the 80s, it is still there. But as we say, Lawrence, that is another conversation. That's a conversation for another time indeed. But thank you very much for your point. Well taken indeed. Folks, yes, if you're tuning in, we are going to have this discussion with this brother that you just heard from. He gave you just a brief background of himself, where he's from, Brother Lucci, what are you up to now? I know you're not presently physically in Dominica. What are you up to now, brother?
Well, Lofty, what I can tell you is, and what I can now tell the viewers as well, because it's always been a question, Lucci, what are you up to? And I will say I've just concluded what we call how should I call it? Our Congress, our voting time, which was held in Tennessee. And that in itself, being part of the Caribbean Young Democrat Union, where we have sister parties within Jamaica, St. Lucia, Grenada, even far as Belize and Turks and Caicos, we are also part of an international aspect of that, which is the IYDU, the International Young Democrat Union. And while in Tennessee, we had to vote, and the delegation, which, I was a part of, we went there with one common goal. And that goal was to pass one bill, which shows productivity and what is being done within the Caribbean and the international aspect as one. And also to get more small island members a part of what is considered I would not say British, but a European dominant aspect of a council. So while doing the Caribbean aspect, I also had the pleasure to carry that out as well. And also, I can hint here and there, When you saw the poster, you did see youth strategists as well. So, we have elections coming up in Jamaica with Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who's looking to seek a third term. So I am lending a hand in that. Also, former Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Alan Chasney, he with the United Workers' Party in St. Lucia, there too lending somewhat of a hand. So that's what I'm up to right now, taking care of things within the region as well as international aspect.
So I can comfortably say that you have been very, very busy.
Very busy, I will say. What I can do is give you a little joke. Every time I speak to my mother, I ask her, oh, you're relaxing again. She says, well, you're the one on Idle Hall Estate. I said, no, work is being done. You might not see it, but it's being done indeed.
Indeed. Lucci, again, thank you, my brother. In spite of all your busy schedule, when I reached out to you, you did not hesitate one bit, but you made time and you are here this evening to share with us on that all-important subject matter that, as I said before, we started 2 weeks ago, why government budgets matter to all the citizens. So you'll be sharing your perspective on that. So again, thank you very much.
You're most welcome, Lofty. You're most welcome. And it's my pleasure as well.
Indeed. Just before we get things kicking here, a compliment is coming away from D. Rose. She said, a wonderful young man indeed. I have had the pleasure of interviewing him in the past. He has a bright future ahead of him.
Yes, dear Rose, I remember we had an interview just this year short, and the conversation was one that propelled me into the position that I am today, as well as sitting on the international aspect, because after her interviewed, I had more of an intervention, not being scared, not requesting my seat at the table, but also earning my seat at the table and bringing forth the youth voice. And I always said, everywhere I go, it's not the young people alone of the Caribbean region. It's the young people of Dominica as well, because their voices has to be heard, not only in the Caribbean region, but as far as the international aspect as well.
Yeah, indeed. So again, D. Rose, thank you very much. You heard it from the man himself. Your interview basically propelled him to greater things. So thank you very much for that work that you did with him and continue to do fun on behalf of country. Thank you, D. Thank you, D. Rose, indeed. Again, brother, just before we get into, I took note that you said that you're a youth strategist. That's a very, sort of heavy title there, right there. Lucci, you're from Dominica. Let's keep it local even before you may wish to branch out. The young people in Dominica, Lucci, on a whole, in a nutshell, in a crunch, what do you think of our young minds, our young folks in Dominica?
Well, Lofty, what I will tell you is that it's not what I think. It's what's factual and what we're seeing right now.
Better yet.
We can use single words. They're unhappy. They're disappointed. They're frustrated. And some of them are even, how should I say, sad. Because we do see that our state of affairs, also that of our economy, is not what we expected it to be some years ago. And when I say some years ago, we're looking at, let's just say 15 years ago, because I was born in 1995. That I can tell you for sure. And looking forward as growing up, I said that this is what I want to see for my life. This is how I'm going to carry it forward. And when I look at my life and I look at the young people, and I said, it's not about you. Let's find out. Having that conversation with them shows me that they're unhappy with what is right now. Young people are frustrated. They're about lack of jobs, lack of opportunity. That much I will say, lack of the fair chance of going overseas to study, to come back to their country, to give their meaningful contribution as well. So when I look at, the young people right now, and I listen to them and listen to the things that they tell me, deep down within their heart, I can say right now, which is the factual truth, that they are frustrated, tired, and some of them are on the verge of giving up.
Wow. That is a very factual statement, or statements, as you said, Dupy, but it is very sad indeed in terms of even your last note, giving up. And giving up in life should never be an option, but that is the situation in Dominica present as we speak. And I really appreciate your efforts as a young man in trying to help our young people get out from that very sad state, that giving up state, as it were, as it pertains to their future.
Indeed, indeed.
We may just have a conversation surrounding the young people, DP, but we are here for another subject matter. So let us, get back on track, as it were.
That is true. That is true.
Guvel Mahambrin, good evening to you. Helena, John Rustang, good evening. You guys are just tuning in. Edna, Ernest said, brilliant young man. Priscilla, the gallery, you're also there. Good evening to all of you guys logging in at this time. DP, the subject matter at hand, where would you want to take a crack at it?
Well, Lofty, I will tell you that
folks, something basically went drastically wrong, I must say. My guest here, Brother Luciano Dupy, just fell off the grid, as it were. So let us just hope that everything is okay with him, first and foremost, and that technical issue that can be sorted out very, very soon indeed. So on behalf of Civic Vibes, we do apologize for that, but we would like to get that technical issue out of the way. And so in so doing, I will be playing some music whilst I try to get back to Brother Dupy, whilst we try to regain connection right here indeed.
Lord, yeah. I'm Mrs. Brown, oh Lord. I'm Mrs. Brown, wanna hold right down, yeah, no. I'm Mrs. Brown,
So if you're just tuning in at this time, we started a conversation with Mr. Dupy, that is Luciano Dupy, and something technical happened. I'm just trying to reconnect, as it were, with Mr. Dupy so we can continue on here. Folks, the second segment is up about 7:30 tonight with Brother Zed Lloyd, and we're going to have that all-important conversation on and about our water in Dominica, that all-important resource, our water. So stay tuned for that as well. I think we have regained connection with Brother Dupy. Let me just see if I'm hearing him and seeing him. Dupy, are you back with us?
Yes, Lofty, I am back. I don't know what happened. I really don't know. But, what is to be shall be, Lofty, and we shall keep the show going, of course.
All right, indeed. Thank you. Thank you, indeed.
Lofty, previously you asked me where do I think, we should start. And I'm going to hit you straight off the bat, Lofty. Mm-hmm. Tonight, I did choose some aspects that we're going to speak on, which one would be, agriculture. Two would be youth and sports, empowering our next generation. And then also we'll touch a little on tourism and a little on education as well. So Lofty, whichever side that you feel best we can start on, they're all gonna flow, one within the other.
One into each other.
Let me know.
Yes, go right ahead. You are our prize guest here this evening. The opportunity is yours, so go right ahead. Wherever you want to start and you feel comfortable, go right ahead. It will flow.
Okay, well, Lofty, what I would tell my listeners is that I do know some may not have listened to the 2025-2026 national budget. And Lofty, when I listened to the budget, I told myself, hey, let's go back to 2024, 2025, before we do hit 2025, 2026 again. And while comparing the two budgets, I do see that allocations are being made, Lofty. But what I don't understand is, and I want to use simple terms, Lofty, because they put some big numbers in there. And yes, some might understand, but I want to use simple terms. Let's just use, for example, and under agriculture. If 5 million was allocated for agriculture, you're telling me only 2.5 million was used on the amounts, expenditure amounts for agriculture, which tells me as a young person that the monies which you're taking out loans on our name, you're taxing us, you're using our monies, and you're not using the full amount towards that agricultural sector. How is that going to better a sector, that we have constantly been speaking about trying to build, trying to uplift? How do you get more young people coming into this sector when funds that are allocated for the sector are not even being used much in the sector? Lofty. So
Yes.
that's one point, which I really want to touch on, which is monies allocated to sectors are not being used as well.
So what I'm getting from you, based on what you said, is that even if we go back to last, not this current budget presentation, last budget, the monies that were allocated for agriculture were not used up in agriculture so sufficiently.
That is correct, Lofty. That is correct. And that in itself brings what we call a setback within that ministry, because if the monies were really being spent there, what we would see is more young people getting into agriculture, which would then boost our economy because of our export. And right now, I would say is a ripe time to take advantage of the agricultural sector and the export sector as well, from looking at Dominica's standpoint, where we could look at ground provision or plantains or bananas, even our citrus as well. We could have shipped out. And even if we have high demands, and let's say we do have too many citruses, we can then now look into creating jobs, more jobs for our young people, because if we have the citrus, why not just have extract? Why not just bottle them and ship them overseas, or sell them to certain businesses or hotels in Dominica and overseas as well, who also look for fresh, citrus juice, just to say, so that they could give their guests, So it's a process rolling. And when you look at it, when these monies are not spent how it's supposed to be spent within those ministries, then you have a setback, which then cripples young people and have them more on a back bench, not getting the opportunities which I spoke about, for them to better themselves and help their family as well, some of them within the country also.
I noticed, Lucci, that you started on that all-important ministry, the agricultural ministry. Can you give us an idea of just how important that ministry, that sector, is to Dominicans, especially the young people?
Okay, well, what I will tell you, Lofty, is that when we look at the agriculture ministry, we have to look at what it was then and what it is now. Right now, we are facing what I would call a heavy blow to our economy as it pertains to generating income. And we have turned several directions, which one has been there for many years, which is the citizen by investment. And we do know what's going on with our citizen by investment. The agricultural sector is one that will grow our economy by tenfolds if managed properly, one. Two, if the right input is put in there. And three, if we do tap into the right markets at this point in time. So that's how important it is to us right now, because the agricultural sector is just what, I'm not going to say might, I'm letting you know that it's just what will build our economy and our GDP as well.
Wow, that's a very That's a very profound statement there indeed. You going back and juxtaposing what we have now indeed. You started with agriculture, as I alluded to earlier. But for the people who are just tuning in now, why it is that this subject matter is very dear to your heart, Lucci, in terms of monitoring government's transactions or monitoring government's business as it pertains to the presentation in Parliament, what the process that they call the budget presentation, or the budget rather.
Lofty, one thing I learned while growing up, and that I will tell you that my grandfather taught me very well. Accountability is one, you know, and being true to your word and also true to others. And one thing I will say is that what I do hold dear to my heart is seeing the people of Dominica, more so the young people, Lofty, more so the hardworking people, you know. We look at the middle class and the lower class individuals as well. Upcoming young adults and young people who find those aspects of the ministry something that they want to go in. I like to see young people and individuals strive, individuals who make their own, stand on their own, and not depend, you know, on others to give them their daily bread, so to speak. And Lofty, it's cliche, it's always been said, you know, the motto of the Freedom Party has always been, you know, why give a man to fish when we can teach them to fish? You know, that has been the same. But I tell people, if we do our little research and do our little reading and look back when we had these parties in office, you would see that more people was willing to work, to make their own, to ensure that they send their children to school, to have nothing hanging over their head, that later on in life, when their children become doctors, lawyers, teachers, you know, even farmers as themselves, and hold public office, that they can say they did work really hard, and I taught my son, my daughter to work hard for what they have in life and what they do want in life as well. So that's why I hold it very, very dear to my heart when I see these guys sit in Parliament and discuss monies that are being, you know, so-called spent, but you can't account for them at all.
So basically, the during the budget is one way that you think that the citizenry can hold the government accountable.
That is very correct. That is very correct. Also, during the budget, with the right set of individuals as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's not forget that.
True. Margaret Wallace is writing here. I agree that agriculture must be a cornerstone of building the economy. You're suggesting we explore many avenues to grow that sector, and that it will take creativity, she says here, to excel again in agriculture. Do you agree with her sentiment?
I do agree with her. I do agree with her. And as I said, moving forward, previously, Lofty, is that we need to take agriculture more serious, hands down. It's not a fanfare. It's not, hey, I come, I give some shovels, I give this equipment, I give that. We need to take the agricultural sector serious. And if it means that we have to go to Taiwan, because we know how good Taiwan is on the agriculture as well, organic agriculturing as well. You know, if we have to go to Taiwan, or let's say we have to go to Mexico, or even some of the Central American countries, to get individuals, find the new, I would not say technology, but the new steps moving forward into bettering our agricultural sector, then we have to spend the monies to do what we need to do to better the sector. And it's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that indeed. Lucci, when we speak about agriculture, a lot of people get that idea. I don't know where that idea came from, but that is a reality. A lot of people think of agriculture as a cutlass, a hoe, a fork, your lunch bag on your back, and you're heading into the gardens 5 o'clock in the morning, coming back 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, tired and getting ready to go over that process again and again. Is that the only type of agriculture that is there, and how can we make agriculture now as a business, as a sector, more interesting to young people, much more, for quote unquote, of a better word, much sexier to our young people, so that they can sort of look in that direction and try to earn through that sector.
Well, Lofty, what I will tell you is, I remember, when I started doing a little agriculture and with my mother, going to the garden, I used to think that it's always, hey, you have to take the cutlass, you have to say clear the grass, well, cut the grass, so to speak. Let me not say, our listeners,
Yeah.
cut the grass, so to speak. You have to dig the holes, plant the little figs and dashing plants. And then while growing up, you get the understanding that the people who work at Dexia, you can consider them farmers.
Mm-hmm.
The people who work in the Ministry of Agriculture, you can consider them farmers as well. Why? Because it's not only getting into the dirt, it's the strategic aspect of farming as well, where it comes to, hey, we need to export. How are we going to do the logistics? You need that aspect. Then you have to say the people who transport the goods per se as well. You consider the hucksters as well. So farming, you don't have to look at it as something where you get your hands dirty. And I would tell the young people as well, nothing is wrong in getting your hands dirty. That means that you're literally putting in the work while getting your hands dirty in the soil for you to get that output, which is the agricultural produce that you can now sell to Dexia. Or if you do have a partner overseas in, let's say, for example, St. Martin, St. Kitts, Totola, the BVI, just to name a few, you have buyers over there. You can now do your exporting as well. So it does have different aspects of agriculture that young people can really dive into and not only think that it's just getting into the soil and getting your hands dirty.
True. And just to add to what you said a while ago, I heard you mention about bottling earlier, bottling of juices or whatever it is. And so an offshoot from the agricultural sector is the agro-processing sector. And
well,
with that comes, the people who deals with the data, the people who deals with the different mixes, you have the chemists in there, the scientists in there, the people who, as you said before, they basically add value, much value to the stuff that come from the ground. So, and the fruits and whatever it is. So at the end of the day, I believe that is where our leadership is lacking in Dominica, in that there was never this excitement about agriculture. A matter of fact, it's on the record. One of our ministers said agriculture, that's a has-been industry. And so this government, they were not akin to, having young people in particular look in that direction. There was no innovativeness as to where agriculture is concerned. There was no newness. There was not no refreshing. There was not no appeal, as it were, in that direction. So you have young people now, really and truly are not prepared to go down that road to try to earn an honest buck out of agriculture through the many different avenues that agriculture as a sector can provide. So I agree.
Very much so, Lofty. One other thing I will say when we look at agriculture as well, just to put a pin in that, is that our young people, if they're not exposed to something, that's where we're going to have the problem. So, for example, if you have a mother or father who has a child and never spoke agriculture to that child, they just want that child to be a lawyer, a doctor, a teacher, and you never taught the child the basics of life, you would not know that your child is good at agriculture. You would not know your child is good at farming, or your child wants to be a scientist within that agricultural sector. So I also think that it starts from at home, from early childhood, to get them acquainted with the soil, to see if it's something that they like, because that too can really boost our economy when it comes to young people working in the agricultural sector as well. So that's something we need to look at.
True indeed. The program, I try to make it very interactive, and so I'll be popping in the live feed now and then to see who's there, what they're saying, so that I can punch them at you, Lucci. Julia Sampson, brother, good evening, you're there. Delani Laurie saying, Lucci is a leader. That's a very, very profound statement here. Thank you, Delani, for this here. Margaret Wallace is saying, ethics and accountability help us save more money in the long run, indeed. Jenny Dupy says, my heartbeat. Well,
that's my mother, Lofty. That's my mother.
That's your mother. Wow. Mommy, good evening to you. Good evening to you. And thanks for being part of us here, part of the conversation. We're having that all important conversation. If your heartbeat, as you says here, good evening to you in a very special way. That is Jenny Dupy indeed. Brittany James, I think out of Antigua, is writing, that's it, Lucci, tell them. Margel Durand, you're also there. Margaret comes back and says, correct. Marketing, transportation, logistics, etc., are part of the agricultural flow. Indeed. Marshall Lawrence said, micro manufacturing plants, solar panel, good refrigeration, solar panel for good refrigeration, yes. Added value indeed. Chikitu says here, I was a farmer too, so I know exactly what you're talking about indeed. Faswa writes, that is true. I guess that is true what we are discussing here this evening. So Lucci, anything that you got from the feed here that you'd want to expound on before we move?
What I can tell you, Lofty, from some of the messages that you've just read, I do see that you see more young people in there interacting with you.
Well, that's so, and that's your pillar was made, and thank them for that.
Yeah, so I just want to say, once again, thank you to the listeners and thank you to the young people who are tuning in, because they always ask me, when are you going to speak out on certain matters that not only affect you as an individual, but affect us, so I just want to thank them for being on the live today, as well as our regular listeners as well, Lofty.
So I caught something there. The young people are asking you, Lucci, when are you going to speak out? What is your response to them when they say that to you?
Lofty, my response to them, and I would tell you the same thing, is that when the time is right, when the time is right, I shall present myself to the young people as well as to the country to give my contribution, as a young adult to Dominica and also the economy as well. So when the time is right, Lofty, that much I can tell you for sure.
When the time is right, I am looking forward to that time indeed, Lucci. Thank you very much. At least you basically put in some things out there this evening. Dito Thomas said, very well said indeed. All right, so yes, that is just confirming you have some of your young folks here with you, basically adding much value to the conversation indeed. Anything else, read the budget, read the agricultural sector that you want to shoot on?
Lofty, not really agricultural sector, but they're intertwined. Mm-hmm. And I did say while speaking about agriculture, I will touch a little more on education and agriculture, because you do know they go hand in hand. And it brings me back to the statement of bringing the young people closer to agriculture. Yes, we do have an agricultural program within our secondary schools, and also I would say for CXC, Caribbean Examination Council as well. But Lofty, what is left to question, and it brings me back, are we spending our monies within the agricultural sector and the educational sector properly? Because, and Lofty, I don't want it to sound like I'm just sprouting out numbers, because I do have the numbers of what was allocated and what was spent. And when I look at the numbers, Lofty, I do think, and it's just my recommendation, because I do know the how should we call it, the propaganda machines are listening to your show right now, Lofty. And what I will recommend to them is that more money is be spent within the educational aspect of agriculture to help boost. And when I say spend more money, let's get more greenhouses in different secondary schools. Let's get them some more of those machineries. Let's get them some more of those plants as well. Teach them how to grow certain crops. Let's dive deeper within the agricultural sector where education has to deal with it as well.
Indeed. Wilfred James here says we do need more of the youth involved. And I guess that is from a springboard of what you basically put out there, saying when the time is right. So I guess that person, hoping that person is a young person, is agreeing with you. Brittany James comes back and writes, give duty free for agricultural equipment. Anything you'd want to say on that in terms of her comments?
Lofty, yes. If we're going to build the agricultural sector, we do, as a country, we have to take a little blow here and there. And when we look at import, these are some of the things that we need to cut back on, putting fees on when it comes to agricultural, how should I say, machinery, one, agricultural logistics, two, because when you have individual who comes from overseas and they have to stay a prolonged time in the island, but they help us, we need to at least not have them pay, if you understand where I'm coming from. And also the plants that we're getting, if as an agricultural sector, we're bringing in those plants to farmers. Yes, I do know we do give some plants, seedlings, as let's just say for testing purposes, but we now need to invest in it and let's say, hey, machinery is coming in, this is what you're going to use it for, it's within farming, it's going to boost the economy, we will give you duty free on this. These are some of the aspects that it's not only, hey, I want to bring in a pickup, I want to bring in a truck for me to transport my agricultural produce. Hey, you can get duty free because it's on the farmer's license. We do need to give a little leeway in that as well when it comes to the machinery, which aid in agriculture also.
Yes, indeed. For folks who are tuning in, thank you very much, Luchi. So far, so good in terms of your deliveries here. It is 8 minutes to the hour of 7 o'clock. Again, we are talking to Mr. Dupy here, Luciano Dupy indeed. We are trying to have this conversation to be very, very interactive in nature. So please send in your comments. I will punch those at him so that he could respond if a response is needed indeed. At 7 o'clock, that is at the top of the hour, we're going to take that all-important break. And then thereafter, we're going to open up the telephone lines. 2 telephone lines are located on this program to you out there. So please make use of those numbers, which will be scrolling or will be placed. They will be placed on your screen in just a bit so that you could call in if needs be. The numbers are 245-2396 or 615-9470 indeed. So, Luchi, before we head to that break, anything else you just want to drive home in terms of some points before that all-important break?
Well, only thing I would like to drive home is that to our listeners as well, and to the young people who have an eye on agriculture, I do want to say that we do need an increase in budget allocation for agriculture. That's hands down. We do need more young people to partake within agriculture. Also, technology and innovation. That is something that we also need to look into. We're moving with time, and now you could have drones, so to speak, using weedicides and pesticides on your crops as well. So that too we need to look into, and also building our export growth. So if you're listening and you want to pick takeaways, I will say our export growth, that we do need to support it and build on it. Technology and innovation, youth in agriculture, and an increased budget allocation for agriculture as well.
And just to get it from you again in terms of making that point much more solid as we come to the end of that segment here. you think, Mr. Dupy, as a young man, agriculture is the way to go for Dominica?
It's not what I think, it's what I believe. And I do believe that agriculture is the way forward for Dominica. I do believe it's the way forward for growth in our economy and our GDP as well, and also to build our workforce as well. So that is what I do believe. Agriculture is the way forward and it is the way to go.
So in terms of that special appeal now to some of the younger people who are listening, who may be listening to that podcast later, what is your grabber statement to them, trying to attract them to that all-important sector that you're talking
What
about?
I will say, Lofty, and with the agricultural sector, I will tell young people it is okay to get your hands dirty. And if you don't want to get into the soil, it is okay to put in your all into agriculture, because later on in life, it will benefit you and your family in time to come, for sure.
True, indeed. I think I heard that statement from someone back then. I cannot really remember who, but basically said that, and I agreed. Agriculture, when you look at the word agriculture, indeed, it is supposed to be part of the culture of us in Dominica.
Yes.
Cannot depart from that.
You can't. There is no way you can look past it. You know, it's embodied in us. When we look at our flag and we look at what the different color stands for, you know, it is embodied in us as Dominicans to work the land, work the soil, to get our produce, to live on our produce as well. Because in Dominica, we have to be self-sufficient when it comes to providing food. We can't only how should I say, depend on imports when it comes to food. We have to be self-reliant, where if something has to happen later on, God forbid, that we can feed our nation and we can keep our people strong and going.
COVID, let's just go back 5 years. COVID was a sort, quote unquote, blessing in disguise, because a lot of people, they had to go back to the basics. They had to go back to the soil. They had no choice. They had to be self-sufficient. People could not congregate. People could not go in stores. So people had to go back to what they grew up on, what they knew. And here comes the good old agriculture that basically saved a lot of lives in the process.
That is correct. That is correct. COVID once, what I will say with COVID is, you know, I was overseas on a job and I got stuck in St. Kitts, you know, and while battling COVID, I did say one thing, because it took me back home. And I said, you know, I wish I was in Dominica when COVID had struck. Why? Because you get to live off the land much easier and better than that of when you're in St. Kitts. Yes, they do produce agricultural produces, but it's not in the amount and what we know as Dominicans, you know, what we do get a wide variety of. So it was a time to tell people, hey, it's time for you to go back to the soil and get that food that you do need for your system.
Indeed. And where the world is going now, Lucci, with that health awareness campaign and healthy eating and all that goes with, you know, that sort of campaign out there. Dominica, we as this blessed rock, we are well poised in the Caribbean basin to sort of be the basket, be that octopus with many tentacles, as it were, with our basket or food basket to supply the region, at least with food, so that we here could survive.
That is correct, Lofty. That is correct indeed.
Indeed. All right, let's take that all-important break, Lucci. So far, so good indeed. Thank you very much for your deliveries here. So far, you are batting well indeed. I love what I'm hearing. Let's do this one. The Poor Man affiliate from Peter Tosh. We'll be right back in just a bit.
Got to find a solution to this pollution. Got to find a solution to this pollution. Yeah. Got to find a solution to this pollution.
Yes, folks, we got to find a solution indeed.
Find a solution to this,
says Peter Tosh.
the poor man affiliate
That is what this program is all about, talking about the problems, but also seeking solutions as well.
The poor man I feel it go. The poor man feel.
And so if you're tuning in at this time, you are 1 hour late.
Gas gone up.
But guess what? They say rather late than never. So welcome on board.
Phone bill gone up.
We have been having a very candid, a very eye-opener conversation with the man, Mr. Dupy, indeed. A young man who hails from Portsmouth. Has been making a name for himself.
Yeah, gotta find a solution to this pollution.
And yes, he said the time when it is right.
Solution to this pollution. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Looking forward to that time, huh?
Solution to this pollution. Only
the best of us should be leading the rest of us.
The poor man I feel go out. The poor man feels I know.
Again, I want to repeat, the best.
Only him feels, yeah.
And should I add brightest? So the best and brightest of us should be leading the rest of us. And here is an example of one of the brightest. A young man right here this evening, telling you his thoughts on a number of different areas. So yes, folks, the numbers to call, they are on your screen as we speak. Just in case you want to add your voice to that conversation, this is your time.
You got to find a solution to this pollution.
We have just about half an hour with Brother Dupy indeed.
For a solution to this.
And thereafter, we're going to hear another conversation with the man Zed Lloyd. As it pertains to another resource in Dominica, an important resource at that, our water and the importance thereof. We are hearing of late the moves that our government is prepared to make with our water, landing our water in the hand of foreigners indeed. So, Brother Zed Lloyd, a very sharp shooter, will come and help us navigate some of these murky waters indeed. As our government, yes, they are prepared, they are ready to go to give our waters to foreigners indeed to manage. They say where there is smoke, there's always fire. To those of you in the region locked in, good evening to you. To all the younger folks here, good evening to you as well. Let me just make a special appeal to each and every one of you out there listening and watching at this time. If you want to say something, whatever you want to say, once it is within certain parameters, Civic Vibes will be sorting you out, or is sorting you out. So please feel free, reach out to the man Alvin Thomas and myself to get your voice in the conversations that we normally have here each and every Sunday. 5 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock. I just saw here a former Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Peter Carbon. He's here with us taking in the vibes as well. Mr. Ricardo Santemi, you're also there. Good evening to you.
Yeah.
Gerald Vital writes here. Let me see what Gerald Vital is saying. It's a mouthful here from Gerald. Agriculture is a broad-based industry encompassing many facets of production. The types of agriculture that Dominica is most noted for are the above and below ground. However, there are many means of agriculture for food production, like hydroponics and aquaponics. Nonetheless, to take advantage of such, we need to address feeder roads and grading of certain land areas to accommodate and practice, produce, and enhance agriculture. Point well made, Mr. Vital. Point well made. New Jersey is in the house. Good evening to you, Mr. David Hector.
We've been waiting for a solution to this pollution.
So yes, the next half hour with Brother Dupy here.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk some solutions as well, huh? So let's get back to him here as we get back to the live conversation with our guest, Mr. Luciano Dupy, indeed. Brother Dupy, thank you very much for staying on. So far, so good. 1 hour basically flew past by. What else in terms of your contribution you'd want to, set a piece now?
No problem, Lofty. I wish we could have gone on, for 2 hours or, just to keep the conversation. But
well,
I will.
There are always other times, huh? So
I will, use my time wisely. But Lofty, as moving on, what we're going to touch on right now is what I do consider something very dear to my heart, which is youth and sports. A young man who grew up in the town of Portsmouth and who was ushered in by none other than Miss Cynthia Joseph. That's better known as Miss J, and brought me in to play volleyball. Also taught me, the ropes on netball and coaching netball as well, where I also played football and did athletics. Youth and sports hold a very dear place in my heart, and that I will say. And right now, I'm not going to use the island. Let's use Portsmouth. I'm from Portsmouth. And one thing I do know and do see is that a town which once created top class athletes are now placed on the back bench. We were known for our netball machinery. When you needed netballers, you do know that Portsmouth was the main place to get netballers who came from the Portsmouth Secondary School and that coaching program. And what I will say again is that from some time back to now, we have seen the decrease in sports and creating athletes when it comes to Portsmouth as well, and the lack thereof of sporting facilities. We lament on creating another TLR4 or creating another Julian Alfred, or let's just, if we have to go back in time, Christy Alcid, or you do know, right, Lofty? Right now, I do feel that the young people are being taken on a joyride, and the joyride has different segments. And when it comes to youth and sports, I do see that the lack of infrastructure is really crippling the country from creating top-notch athletes. They're as well track and field athletes and also indoor athletes, because right now, basketball, volleyball, and netball is no longer played outside per se. It's within an enclosed facility. So I do think in my last half hour, I think we will be touching on youth and sports with a little bit of tourism in there as well, for sure.
Indeed. Well, yeah, I concur with you very, very much so. Sports and youth, basically, they are synonymous. They go hand in hand. And so if you want to get a lot out of our young people, you have to make that avenue available to them so that that energy, whatever it is, can be put out there in terms of something productive indeed. So yes, I'm on point with you. Winifred, yes, James, we have sort of passed the agriculture conversation now, but that person is saying in let me see if I could get that point here. Initiating programs to educate farmers about climate resilient crops and practices, promoting community-led initiatives to enhance local and food security. Also comes back and says the implementation rather of organic farming methods to reduce chemical usage and promote biodiversity. So good point here made on the agricultural program indeed. By Mr. Willie Fred James indeed. Margaret Wallace writes here, isn't there a plan to remove sports from schools? Margaret, that is a conversation in and out of itself, but thank you for your question. I may sit on the couch with you, Margaret, sometime for us to discuss that idea, if that is an idea indeed. Marshall Lawrence, right? Very impressive indeed. A question, bro, to Brother Dupy. Can you or do you see the possibility of an NGO, that is a non-government organization is referring to, taking the lead with some of the plans that you're looking at? Let's just get that question out of the way and then you can fall back into the sporting aspect.
Well, and I do see that, Lofty, but we have to be realistic. We have to. We do see that Dominica is facing what I do call, or let me put it simple as that. When someone hand is stuck in a cookie jar, and sometimes they get caught, of course. We can have NGOs come in to bring forth these plans to help usher these plans into, longevity, so to speak. But then what happens when other countries and Caribbean islands as well, we can say, neighboring islands, have links to these people who are part of the NGO. Now it becomes one set of people get, the other don't benefit from it, which is not what we're looking for. So to give you something in a nutshell, it is possible, but it's getting the right set of individuals to carry that forward and see the longevity of it as well.
Yeah, indeed. So in terms of the point that you were on, thank you very much for the response to Mr. Lawrence. But the point you were on in terms of the very important role that sports can play and have played, young people, just sort of go back there as we continue to move on to our closing remarks just now.
That's no problem, Lofty. Lofty, what I will tell you is that we look at the budget, and under youth development and programs, the budget did support youth entrepreneurship. It did support vocational training. It did support leadership development. Communities.
Zed.
Yeah, brother. Sorry, let me turn
mute your mic, please. Thank you.
Sorry, brother.
Yeah, sorry about that, Dupy. Sorry about that. Go right on.
That's okay. And it does speak of leadership development through community centers and schools. Okay, we do have all talk, but Lofty, as I said, the documents. For the fiscal year of 2025-2026, we can say under culture, youth, sports, and community development, amount of allocated was, for the budget proposal, we would say 12.2 million. Okay, we're allocating funds towards that sector. But when we come to the capital expenditure, under that ministry, we're looking at amounts of 15.7 million. Now, Lofty, that leaves me to ask several questions. And it leaves questions that young people are asking as well. If the funds are being allocated within that ministry, where is it to show? And I can give you examples. We have been hearing of a sporting facility in 1 mile Portsmouth. Well, not 1 mile, sorry. T-Bay Portsmouth, where they would have put an indoor facility, which it has been talks for a while. But yet still funds are being allocated towards the ministry, but we see nothing as yet as to that infrastructure coming up. We do know that Portsmouth right now is without a community center. And that we have to ask several questions about, because if we're looking at youth and sports and we're looking at creating a recreational area and facility for the young people, of course, Lofty, I do believe that these monies should be allocated within building such infrastructures like an indoor facility for track and field, like an indoor facility for netball, basketball, and volleyball, even futsal as well. Or we can also say a community center as well for the town of Portsmouth. But these are things that are lacking in a constituency and in the country that is known for developing young, strong, striving athletes as well. So you do see where we're coming from when we have to ask the questions as young people: where is the money going and where is it being spent? And don't come to me with the stories about, oh, it has been diverted to a different ministry, because that is something I just don't believe at all.
Don't believe at all. Dupy, after 25 years of a government in a country managing the country's affairs, we are now on the subject matter sports and youth. Where do you think reasonably that is? Dominica, our young people should have been in terms of benefiting now as it pertains to the actively participating in infrastructures or whatever it is that could enhance their capabilities in sports if they so desire. Just where you think we should have been as a country.
Lofty, what I will tell you is that as a country, I believe that we should have been on the same level or even better than that of Grenada when, you know, they had their peak athletes like Kiani James and so forth. I do believe that if we had those infrastructures in place, let's not stretch it and say 20, let's say 15 years ago, if those infrastructures were put in place, a lot of broken dreams, a lot of lost talent as well would have been well utilized, and we would have our name athletes, you know, being big on that international stages as well, where it pertains to indoor athletes or even outdoor athletes as well. Let's say track and field, we would have high class javelin throwers, high class long distance runners, also 100-meter runners as well. We would have produced top class athletes if these facilities were introduced 15 years back, let's just say 15 years ago. Even till now, if we did go ahead to introduce some of those indoor facilities, it would have been good, because just last month, you know, a good bit of our students traveled to St. Vincent to partake in the Windward Island school games, and they did come out second, I will say, overall. And I do want to say congratulations to them, me being part of that Windward Island school games for 3 years consecutively. I can say that the different islands, in the case of Grenada and St. Lucia, when they step out, we do know that these are the two countries we have to look out for. And one might ask why? Because they do have the sporting infrastructure that the athletes do utilize very, 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 and I will say they utilize it very well. So when they come to these games, the dominance will be there when it comes to islands like Grenada and islands like Grenada and St. Lucia. And I feel as a small island, Dominica, we can be on that level or even surpass them as well when we speak of youth and sports in that aspect.
Let us just take the case of our dear Thea Lafont, who basically placed us on a map by winning gold at this triple jump exercise at the Olympic level. Luchi, it's a fact. If Miss Lafont had stayed in Dominica, that dream of hers would never become a reality. And I can say that with absolutely no reservation. Because as you said,
it is a fact.
As you said, the facilities are not there. And I know we have many, many more Lafonts out there. We have many young people who are capable, who are talented, who are skilled. But at the end of the day, they don't have what it takes to bring out that skill, to let them demonstrate in very meaningful ways so that people out there could see them. Then here goes the potential. And so it is lamentable, you said after 15, I stretch it to 25. After those amount of years, a government in power cannot do for its people, especially the youth we're talking now, so that these talents, these skills, these great talents that they have could be executed. And so Dominica, now the name of Dominica would be much more out there on the map. Thanks, Sophia, for putting it out. But at the end of the day, I am saying, based on what I know going around the country, there are a number of struggling young people who maybe cannot find a job, but they're good cricketers, they're good volleyballers, they're good triple jumpers, they're good, whatever it is out there. And they could have been making an earnest money, an earnest dollar. But at the end of the day, it is not readily available, the infrastructures, the whatever it takes. So they're lagging in the wilderness in Dominica. It's lamentable, but it is true.
Lofty, let's not look at Tia. Let's look at this young man who has grown up in the town of Portsmouth. And I said that when I look at him and I listen to his story, that's in the person of Danik Luke, who does the long distance running for Dominica as well.
Danik Luke.
Yes. I said that if it wasn't for him getting out of Dominica after in Portsmouth as well, and in Portsmouth Secondary School, the talent was seen. It was developed as much as they could. And he went to Jamaica, and now he is being molded and created into one of those top athletes like what Jamaica is producing right now.
Wow.
And I will say, I know of another young lady who had to leave and go to the Carolinas to study and better herself in the aspect of sports as well. So what I'm bringing this home to is that if our young people have to travel overseas, why can't we not invest in the facilities, invest in the technical coaches, invest even in training for our coaches that we do have, invest in sending young people who are interested in sports to study to become coaches in their different fields, to then come back to the country to give with that facility in place, so we now can create our world star athletes like what Jamaica is doing right now, like what Grenada is doing, or like what St. Lucia is doing, and it has to come to a point where we as people and Dominicans need to understand that I don't care which side of the fence that you're on. We need to understand that once it's for the development and the betterment for the young people and for the country and for, building our country and building the name of Dominica to have that national pride, so to speak, we need to know when to put our biasness aside and do what's best for the development and not for personal gain.
Indeed. Well said, Luchi, indeed. Hambrin says here, I do feel your pain, meaning your pain, Luchi. However, she writes, or he writes, I do not feel sorry for the state of Portsmouth community, and that is that person's perspective. Continues that the Labour Party has not won election with the votes of the elderly only. The young people are complicit in keeping the community, or their community rather, that way. It is their votes over the past elections that basically that person is saying have put Labour in power over and over. With a very profound statement, he or she ends here, elections have consequences. I want you to respond to that. You're a man from Portsmouth, and I know you can. But let me just punch another question at you from Hashim Faswa says, do you think that the airport, if that airport is built, or when that airport is built, it will help with sports and tourism?
Okay, Lofty, let me
it will help
tackle
with
the first
sports
question,
and
and then I'll
sports
come
tourism. Sorry, sports and sports tourism. Yeah.
Sports and sports tourism.
Yeah.
All right. So the first question by was that Miss Hambrin?
Hambrin, yes.
I hope I said that correct. You know, when it comes to the town of Portsmouth, and I do say, as young people, we do respect the elders. We do respect the people that our grandparents and parents are friends with. What I realize in Portsmouth is that key individuals who hold certain positions in Portsmouth has really done a number on the mindset of the young people. You know, and I do say that a lot of young people in Portsmouth has seen a better light. You know, they have seen that for things to get better in Portsmouth, that we do need to take a drastic turn, a change, so to speak. But in politics, it is what it is. And if the strategy that is being used is psychological, then you have to rethink the approach, because some, for example, young people might be held back by key business individuals, by people who went to study psychology as well, who lives in the constituency. They play a big role in holding back young people and dangling certain things over them where they can't get a job or just can't move forward in life. So I do understand where you're coming from, but Portsmouth is changing slowly for the better, you know, in the thinking of the new generation that's coming in, the young people, to better the constituency and better themselves. So that would be my answer there. When it comes to the international airport, Lofty, it's basically, how should I put it? It's basically trying to build something that we do know is building, but in the sense, we're not going to know what to do after we have built it. In the case of the international airport, if it comes, yes, but what are we putting in place for when that international airport comes to benefit the young people in sports, you know? And that brings us all the way back to tourism. This is how tourism and sports is linked. Because if we have an international airport, yes, but we do put infrastructure in place for young people, as in the indoor facilities and the sporting stadiums, we can have, you know, invitational, where we have people coming in from different parts of the world to partake in some of these sporting activities that we have, to bring more of a tourism aspect into the country where we get monies to be spent as well. You know, so it works hand in hand. But if you do not put in the right structures and facilities and also the right programs in place for when that international airport come, that means when it do come, you're now going to be trying to work backwards, so to speak. And that will maybe leave us at a deficit. If you do understand where I'm coming from.
A deficit indeed, a deficit indeed. Lucci, we are basically out of time. I wish we had more time, but we have a next segment up. And so our guest is already waiting. And with me, time is always time. So Lucci, you spoke tonight on very eloquently, that is, on the agricultural aspect to put Dominica back on the map. And we just sort of, skirted around sports and youth. Just drive home some salient points there so that we could bring it to a wrap till another time.
Lofty, what I do want to say, first of all, with agriculture as well as youth and sports, I want to tell the people of Dominica, I do know that you have been holding your breath for 25 years too long. I do know that it is quite frustrating for a lot of young people as it pertains to mental health and wellness as well. But what I will say is keep hope, keep an open mind, and always do what's right and be just. These words are always embedded in our national anthem and also in our national pledges as well. And as Dominicans, we need to know when we should do right by our country, by our young people as well, because some of us are just passing. Some of us are here to stay, and we do want to build a better Dominica and a better community as well for young people, and also build better sectors when it pertains to agriculture, youth and sports, and tourism. So I will say, Lofty, thank you very much for having me on the show. Thank you very much to your listeners as well, and the interactions and the questions. And I do look forward to meeting almost every one of you when I do touch back down in Dominica, so we can have a personal or in-group conversation as to how do you want to see the country move forward better, for that development of Dominica and our citizens as well.
Mr. Lucci, thank you very, very much indeed on behalf of Civic Vibes, the team, and all those listening, all those watching. A matter of fact, I'm already getting the sentiment via text on the live. Part two, part two, part two. So the people are screaming at you, Lucci, for part two. I don't want to put you on the spot, but it is what it is. Would you make that promise?
Lofty, what I will say, if the people are asking for it, we shall deliver. We're not going to give them a 6 for a 9. If they want part two, we can get that where we dive into different aspects. Let's look at electoral reform. Also look at how the Office of Prime Minister is allocating funds, which looks like it's not really being allocated to the ministry. So we can have a part two and we can discuss in depth as to how we can move forward to better certain aspects of ministries in the Commonwealth of Dominica, for sure.
Now I see our second guest has a big smile on his face, and he's not an easy cookie to please. And so I think he will have his take based on your deliveries, but I think he's well pleased. So Lucci, again, thank you very much, my brother. Your final thoughts.
You're most welcome, Lofty. And my final thought will always be with the people, and it's very simple. I will say the progress will continue, as it pertains to me giving my all to the people of Dominica. But I will say keep strong, keep steadfast. I really don't like to bring the Bible into politics, but I will say, those 40 days and 40 nights, it was a wait, and this might just be our 40 days and 40 nights. So we will pull through as a nation, as people as well, and as a community, and also as individuals, because we do have to look into ourselves for that change that we want to see moving forward when it comes to Dominica. So I do look forward to speaking to every single one of you all again. Thank you so very much for tuning in to Civic Vibes. Thank you so very much for the interaction as well. And I will say for sure that I do hold the people of Dominica and also DSO of Portsmouth very close to my heart, indeed.
You created an illusion, an imagination of a...
Thank you indeed, brother Luciano Dupy. Thank you, well executed, well done. Thank you.
heartbreaker and a dream killer. We had plenty hope, but now we can't cope. You're a dream killer. Disregard of mental health while you busy gaining wealth. You're a dream killer. Some in NEP, working for small money. You're a dream killer. You present a lot of things, we believed in you. Now our life passing by, nothing coming through. Made a lot of promises, fulfilling a few. Then it's big celebration for us to praise you.
The man King Girodel, Marlon King Girodel, he calls himself the composer of this one. And the singer as well, Nashel Walsh.
Our children have
a big number indeed, Dream Killer.
So many sent overseas to study, especially those who support the party. Them workers were blue bags that their parents gave you the X.
So folks, that is it for the first segment here.
Come on Facebook Live.
A very revealing segment indeed, very refreshing as well.
I wonder why you acting so sly and how my fears get.
So yes, thank you to Mr. Dupy indeed.
They say a promise is a comfort to a fool. Some cannot graduate. You don't.
He said, have an open mind.
All we hear is
we must do what is right.
Promises while the students.
And very profound indeed, we must keep hope alive.
Some call you a big trickster, I call you a heartbreaker and a dream killer. We had plenty hope, but now we can't cope. You're a dream killer. Disregard of mental health while you busy gaining wealth. You're a dream killer. Some in NEP, working for small money. You're a dream killer.
So folks, we're going to take one more verse of this number and then move across to Brother Zed Lloyd, who's already here waiting and ready to go.
Our life passing by, nothing coming through.
And have that all-important conversation, our resource in Dominica, water.
The debts are grumbling, the college waiting.
So yes, folks, stick around for segment 2 indeed with the man Zed Lloyd. Mr. Ferdinand Lawrence, I'll see if this young man is willing to push his number your way, huh? Jacqueline Winston, good evening to you.
And determination, we can reach our destination through access to capital, education, and mentorship. But consider yourself as a young man, stuck in the cycle of stagnation, where corruption creates limitations and overwhelming sense of frustration. Every day he faces the harsh reality. He cannot provide for his family, losing his dignity and his sanity while still waiting for his opportunity.
Everything in life that live and breathe need air. Millions of gallons flowing daily to the sea. In the abundance of water in Dominica, we should just be paying a maintenance fee. Utility companies here too quick to punish the suffering public. If you can't pay your water bill on time, you will die thirsty or living stinking in your waterland.
Yes, folks, that is the conversation that is coming up next your way. Please stay tuned for that. Thank the man King Dice.
My life.
On the brother part as well, huh?
Water to threaten my life. No one should be without water.
To all the YouTubers, thank you very much for your eyes and ears as well.
I have a finger.
Catherine Fontaine, you're there. Brother Cyrus Raphael.
Can flow.
Petrolin Martin, you're also there as well. And Hector, good evening to you guys.
Yes, to us go.
The importance of this resource in Dominica, our water. Up next, under the microscope with the man, Zed Lloyd. One more verse and we move across to our guests.
COVID-19 lockdown, hundreds of customers online for water, risking their lives to pay their water bills on time. We know that your service cannot be free, no way. But our score must consider the economy. Dominica can sell enough water to the region and the world over, and give Dominicans a breather, even raise the salaries of the workers and the managers. Hey! Water, water.
Very powerful number from the man King Dice, indeed, entitled Water.
Control the water decides who lives and who dies.
And on that note, I want to end this track with that line. Who controls the water basically controls who lives and who dies. A very, very important line here. Brother Zed Lloyd, no stranger to Civic Vibes. Good evening, bro, and welcome.
Good evening, Lofty. Good evening, good evening, good evening to your listeners. Good evening to Brother Lucci. I enjoyed his presentation. I think Mike Douglas, Rosie has finally found the body for his spirit. Yeah, and I say that seriously. I hope this brother's listening. I think this brother's future. And I really want him to get that message. I really think he's future. You know, right spirit, good vibes, humility, and all the things that we need. Good vibes, good vibes. Lofty, you know, I've been like chilling for a minute, you know, just watching. Sometimes it's good to just watch, but the water issue just, you know, it hit me. It hit me, and it hit me because, as usual in Dominica, things get said and we, the populace, stay silent, and the government just does what it wants and things move on. People complain, but nothing effectual ever takes place. And I didn't feel, I felt that water and that whole situation and the way it was evolving, that we needed to have a full stop and a conversation nationally. And so I just wanted to play my part to see if we can open that gate and talk about this differently, you know?
Well, yeah, Zed, thank you very much. Whenever those thoughts come your way, you can count on Civic Vibes, you know, to kind of help you push out those thoughts. And so we are happy that you're here. We heard the statement made by a government, really their plan is to sort of, you know, put that resource, that all important resource in the hands of foreigners, and that a lot of stuff already are in the hands of foreigners, and they are, you know, even contemplating putting that resource, which is, you know, our goal in Dominica, as it were. You heard that, and then that basically, as you alluded to earlier, flushed you out from your, you know, quote unquote, watching zone. So Zed, how would you want to sort of unpack that whole situation re our water potentially maybe in the hands of foreigners very, very soon, if the citizenry doesn't stand?
Well, I think it would be good if we could launch off from the voice note, Lofty. it gives the summary, and then we could, you know, if you don't mind, I think it would set the agenda, you know.
Yeah, let me just see if I could pull up that voice note that went viral from you, Zed, earlier this week, where you basically sort of put the icing on the cake, that conversation.
You know, everyone's caught up in that water conversation, you know, and water. 2025. 2025, the nature island of the world, 365 rivers, is now having a conversation about water as an economic commodity. And you know what is sad about the conversation is not even just the idea of water as an economic commodity, but the conversation is being had in the interest of foreign investors. That is the saddest part of the whole thing. The water, which is already supposed to have been a commodity, already supposed to have been our oil, already supposed to have established us as a first world country if we had used our head. We're now talking about it in 2025, and the same government who's been there for all this time, who's had CBI monies, and without one CBI water-based industry, not one. The financing from CBI should have established this water empire. We should have had no reason to be talking about foreign investment for water industry in Dominica. And I am appalled that my people have not taken a stand against this. You know, when we talk about water in Dominica, we need to talk about a nationalized industry. We need to talk about an industry that through its income is going to ensure that we have zero cost for water usage in our country. Part of our water plan has to be part of us and how water reduces our cost of living. It's not just a bottling plant on some river in Maho or wherever. It's not just a bottling plant. We need a national water policy. We need a consortium of different things so that the villages can benefit, landowners and all those things. There are different river sources. You know, we need a national conversation on water as an empirical commodity in our development. Not this garbage that this brother comes to the parliament and talks about. Not this garbage and trying to neutralize, you know, an endemic industry. You understand? With Dominicans, if we sell water away from ourselves, bro, into ownership, what do we have left to call Dominica? What do we have left to call Dominica? You know, politics have us forgetting our national interest and we're just accepting things because we're scared of people on the radio and people demagoguing us. That water plan in Dominica should not be a conversation involving any type of foreign investment. We should have had some money here from that CBI program, the National Bank, the same way people can come from St. Lucia and come and borrow money and go and set up stadium and have event while we cannot have. You understand? We need a different economic plan for that water. And for us to sit by and just let Vince and Roosevelt just do what they want like they've been doing and then come and claim, it doesn't make sense. We need a nationalized water conversation. I'm all for free market economy, but every nation has to decide on one particular entity that is going to own. Ours has to be water. A water plan has to involve a plan that shows a minimization of cost to us as national citizens in terms of water usage. And if we're going to have a water commodity structure as an economic sector, that has to be the whole and complete plan. And it has to be based on national resources. National resources. We should not allow any foreign ownership to be involved in Dominica's water system. It has to be a consortium of sorts, national dealing shareholders in that kind of concept, and where benefits from water on a yearly basis come to the nation. To the nation. That has to be our oil. We are how much years too late? But it is not too late to set the right economic policy. This haphazard way that this government functions, we need to put a stop at it now. And the water industry, we should. The same thing happened to the geothermal. After we spend how much of our money, man, if just go and give that to some man there on some underhand deal and come in and talk about 20. By the time they give it to us, we don't have an industry again. Water, let us take a stand, Dominica. I'm straight up about that. We should be having a nationalized water conversation on any water economic model. And if you guys sit by and accept that, that's on you all. That's on you all. But I'm letting it be known, bro. This policy of foreign investment and coming like some bottling plant is a wrongful policy for Dominica's water development. Period.
All right, Zed. These were your words, as it were. That is the springboard that you choose to shoot from this evening. Let us take it from there, Zed.
Yeah, well, Lofty, you know, if when you look at water, Lofty, there's nothing more Dominican than water. Nothing more Dominican than water, Lofty. Lofty, if we're going to establish a water industry, we should be having a conversation with our people about the best way about that. Not Vince Revere and not Vince and Roosevelt just deciding some foreign investor and something, and this is what we're going to do. We should have a national conversation on water. You understand? We have several water streams, all good sources from underground to above ground. Let us talk about how we can work with these landowners who own these areas. Let's talk about the villages. Let's talk about how we can set up a consortium of different plants that we can have a marketing process, something that still has an overriding body, like the water industry, water organization in Dominica, the WASCO, and organized in a manner that funds come into that. While people are individually building wealth, we are still gaining national wealth that could enable the usage of water by Dominicans to become almost free. Like, there's no reason why we should be having people's water in Dominica cut off. There's no reason. There's no reason why we have to have water on this ever-increasing cost for Dominicans. It makes no sense. You understand? So if we're going to have a water conversation and we are not concerned with these other aspects of that water thing, I don't know where we're going. It's not going to make any difference. Some foreign manager is going to come get rich on water in Dominica, and we Dominicans still going to have high cost of water, still going to be stressing over water, our national oil and commodity. It doesn't make sense. And so I think that we need to ensure that we call upon this government to do the right thing by water, bro. And we should not just stand aside idle and let these guys do what they want with this water industry. We need local consortiums of ownership that can ensure native endemic wealth building, bro. Native endemic wealth building. Better utilization of the water, even our electricity, the size of our villages. We can have water organizational structures that can both electrify and provide water. You understand? Our pipe water. We have Dominicans buying bottled water. What are we buying bottled water for? What are we buying bottled water for in Dominica? Our water in our tap is excellent water. Way better than some of the garbage that you're buying from other countries. You understand? We need to talk about these things. Dominicans are too easily led. Once a thing is shown, it's promoted, we fall for it. We don't fall back and ask ourselves endemic indigenous questions regards our resources.
Zed, you said that this idea about our water, it should be discussed at a national level and some policy be put in place so that Dominicans could be the primary beneficiaries first, and then thereafter we sell, we do whatever it is for the returns on water. What do you think are some of the elements or aspects that need to be part of that policy that you spoke of?
Well, Lofty, listen, the thing's not rocket science, you know, Lofty. Lofty, many years ago, we had plans for a water pipe, you know, from Dominica to Martinique and Guadeloupe, you know, a water pipe, you know, in the ocean, you know, bro, to sell water, you know, to these French countries, national water, you know. We had tankers coming to Dominica already, you know, bro. We have Kawem season where those French places are dry, although they have water, where they overstressed. We could be making money with Martinique and Guadeloupe in the Kawem season. Antigua, same way. You understand? Why are we talking about water and needing a foreign investor, Lofty? Lofty, where is our money nationally? Where is our money? You know, what happened to that CBI money, Lofty? Where was it spent? Where was it spent? Why not come to us and tell us you have, you know, a couple $100 million in the bank? Let us sit down and talk to the different consortiums of villages and individuals with land, water sources, whatever. Let us see how we can form almost like a cooperative national industry so that the benefit economically comes back into the pockets of Dominicans. Why aren't we having that conversation? Why are we having a conversation from Vince and these guys like they're broke and they're looking for somebody outside to come and save us with a water industry? 25 years too late, 30 years too late, 40 years too late. Everything that we enter into Lofty, we're entering it too late. We're entering cannabis too late. You understand? Everything that we do as a country, I do not understand it. We come into it too late. And the worst part about it is for us to be coming into the water as a national economic sector, to be coming in it that late and still coming in it from a perspective that is not empowering indigenous entities. That is the part that troubles me the most, although we are late. But let us come into the program with an idea of how we are going to build indigenous wealth. If this is our oil, everywhere you look around the world, the Arab countries, the water, everybody handles their oil in a way that ensures endemic wealth building. Why we as a small country cannot look at those examples and sit down with a proper plan and develop a water economic model that is going to build indigenous wealth? Why? You know, it's like these guys don't think about Dominica in their plan, bro. These guys just think of opportunities for them across the table, on the hand deals, and they just bring it in the country. And Dominicans just sit down and just accept everything. We should not accept foreign ownership of our water resources in Dominica, bro. That is all we have left. All we have left. Land is going two by two to all kind of foreign things. We have no land laws. No land laws. We should ensure a certain level of land be sold to our local people so that we can maintain ownership of our country. That is null and void in this government. You understand? And if we sit by and let these guys bring in foreign investment to take over this water business in Dominica, we're in trouble. We're in trouble.
Well, Guvel Mahambrin here is agreeing with you. She says here, totally agree with Zed. Antigua prides itself on its 365 beaches. Jamaica prides on its natural resources. Trinidad and Guyana pride on the oil. She says here, we have water. It is our oil. That person says, how can we give it away? That's madness, capitalized here. What will we have to call ours? Those all important questions. We have given away our Cicero parrot. What next? And if you listen to our government clearly well, it is the intention to go after our water next.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, we have a water conference in South Africa going on this week, you know, Lofty. And Dominica, which has 365 rivers, the premier water, you know, density-wise in the world, is not in that conference, you know. We are not in that conference, a global conference on water, you know, the future, technology, all these things. A conference where we should be there at the head table. We are not in that conference. In South Africa, launching on Wednesday. You understand? What kind of government do we have in Dominica, Lofty?
Zed, about 2 weeks ago, Claudia Sanford was here, right in your space, sitting in where you are sitting now. And basically, he said something which stuck with me, and I'm going to repeat it to you and the people who did not hear. He said, a lot of times we try to understand or try to unravel what it is about that government that is not in the interest of the citizens. He described the government as a far left government with these sort of tendencies that goes with far left governments. And he compounded that by saying some of what the governments have done, it is as per their strategy to keep the people poor. And that is one attribute of a far left government. So that is not that, if we are to dovetail the conversation to what we're talking about today, it is not that in Claudia Sanford's mind, the government doesn't know what to do with the water, you know. UZ did not have to come and put a voice note and be on program tonight and will be asking people to stand up in defense of our water. No, the government know exactly what to do with the water to benefit the citizenry. But if they do that, the people will find some kind of meaningful employment. They will have money, so there'll be no need to come on their knees asking for this, asking for that, and basically in a very genuflecting mode. And so Sanford said, which I agree with him, that is all part of the government strategies to remain where they are. So if it means giving out now the last commodity, the oil of Dominica, which is our water, to stay on the backs of the people, they are prepared to do that. I don't know if you agree.
But Lofty, if you are far left government, Lofty, the water and those things are the kinds of things that you want to control. You want to control economic sources that can raise endemic economic wealth if you are a far left, because it enables you, for instance, to do your social programs. I don't see this government as any kind of left or right government. This government is a dysfunctional government because the processes of government do not exist. It doesn't exist. These independent ministries do not function as independent entities, Lofty. There is no cohesive, independent collective of these ministries in terms of a cohesive national policy. This is a haphazard government. Vince and Skerrit, opportunity, they sit down with some rich man, some money can flow, some deal can flow. That's how Dominica is flowing. It's not even a selective policy. It is not a policy. You understand? Because there's no way you can be a far left government, bro. Far left. And for you to be going internationally and chastising the people of the Sahara, for you to go internationally and call and make it home for Palestinians, for you to go internationally and abstain from a vote in the UN on Palestine, you're not a far left anything. This government has zero political philosophy, Lofty. You check their whole running. They have no settling ground. You know, they just follow the batter. Wherever the batter is, they just run there. You understand? So I get Brother Sanford, but to put it that way is giving these guys too much credit. These guys are not a coordinated ministerial construct of keeping people poor. Dominica is poor because these guys have no economic foresight in terms of the nuances of economics. They do not grasp it, and they do not want to admit that they do not grasp it, and they are willing to ask for help for those who grasp it. And I think when we keep putting Roosevelt like this, so this is some intentional thing to keep people poor. We keep missing the boat. It's not an intentional thing to keep people poor. Roosevelt Skerrit cannot manage an economy, and he refuses to acknowledge that he cannot manage an economy. And he is singularly handling the government. And that is why we have a problem. That's why we have incoherence. That's why we have budgets without money being spent. Because for each of these people to spend money, they have to go for Roosevelt Skerrit. None of these ministerial people have this sort of independent executive process in that government. They don't. You understand? So we need to stop thinking this thing like it's some. No, we need to really talk about this government is unable to function economically as a cohesive economic unit. That is why we are where we are 20 years. That's why everything we coming in there. That's why we having a cannabis conversation 10 years too late. 10 years too late. You understand? Now we're having a water thing 40 years too late. This is supposed to be the primary water deliverer from time water business start. You understand? We are one of the first countries that's supposed to be exporting water, bottled water to the world, Dominica. It's 2025, and the government is coming and tell us like they're broke and they're looking for foreign investment to come a bottling plant, brother. When we're supposed to be talking about a cohesive village by village setup, exploiting our individual rivers, see how we can create some stream structures to release electricity, some structures to save water, to build water stocks so that when our rain fall, we have 6-7 days of supply, so our water can still be clean and nice. We're supposed to have a comprehensive water solution to our national issue, bro. Not this garbage of coming and talk about getting a foreign investor to come and do some bottling plant of water. You know, that's a joke. That's a joke. We have people like Afi, Washwe, all these guys, people who have done research, set up structures. Why is there no conversation with these indigenous people, you know, about water development? Why is the National Bank in a conversation, you know, that we have some monies, we are willing to sit down and talk with certain levels of people in the country on providing some funding to the water, you know, water initiatives? Why isn't that is what we should be talking about? Instead, we come here as some broke people after billions of dollars pass through CBI. You come here like you broke. Now you're trying to get water. Now you're trying to get cannabis because all your operatives are running out of a negative. Even Sam, the leader, is in Barbados now doing investment. You understand? We have to do a stop on this, Lofty. And I think on this water issue, we need to mobilize our people. Right now, our whole civic capacity in the country is dead. It's alarming, but it's dead. And these guys are just getting away with murder because we're crippled as a civic entity in the country. You understand? So I see Sanford's point, but I think it's deeper than that. There's an incoherent managership of the country, and that incoherence is affecting all these things, because it's only one mind that keeps deciding what Dominica does. One mind that keeps deciding what Dominica does.
One man, one mind indeed. Folks, let me just put a note out there as you can see, we're already 5 minutes past 8 o'clock. This segment tonight, we're going to take us up to about 8:30 thereabout. So please just bear with us for, you know, just a little while longer. But Zed really is on fire there tonight in terms of a very good conversation re our water in Dominica. Someone writes here there, Zed by the name of Anthony John Baptist says, Zed cannot say it or could not say it better. Dominica should have at least 40 to 50 bottling plants. This is our greatest resource.
Exactly.
There should be water bottling plants all over the country, that person writes, where there are water sources. Look, for example, the kind of wastage in Springfield or Pawcastle area, Newfoundland, just to name a few. That person is just making this comment there. Your comment, Zed.
Yeah, it's real, Lofty. It's real. It's real. This is something that could be employing a lot of people, bro. We could have cooperatives. It's real. You know what I mean? We have landowners who have good water sources. Let's sit down. Let's talk to these people. Let's how we can organize consortiums. That's what we have to have. Just like in all these big countries, different oil places have their oil thing and they're coming together. That's how we have to do water in Dominica. That's what we have. That's our thing.
You are gone, Zed. I'm not seeing you, huh?
Sorry, Lofty. Sorry. You understand? That's what we. You know the thing getting hot. You know the thing going. You know, it's like I'm mad, man, Lofty.
I for the phone got drowned in some water, man.
Nah. Just you know what I mean. It's like, you know, this thing's crazy, man. You know, it's crazy. Our solutions are so simple. You know, they're so simple, and these guys are complicating things because you know these guys don't talk to the people, bro. They don't talk to the people, not one tongue hole, not nothing. Are we going to discuss? Are we going to solve this? Are we going to do this? You know what I'm saying? Water can change our life in Dominica if it's done right, bro. Although it's done late. But if it's done right, it can change our life. And more importantly, the cost of living. People keep seeing wealth as what goes into your pocket. We need to see wealth in Dominica as what does not come out of your pocket also. And by using our resources to reduce the cost of living for people is one of the best ways that we can buffer them towards wealth building and a more easier lifestyle. And water has to play a major part in that kind of modeling. You understand? And what Vince and these guys are coming to talk to us, bro, is garbage. Garbage. And we need to call it for what it is. Garbage.
So you touch on the fact earlier that there are a number of business people in Dominica who import bottled water to the disadvantage of what we already have here and what we're trying to do our resource. Your take on that?
Well, you know, we in CARICOM And so everybody has their, free trade kind of thing, and that's fine. The choice has to come down to educating your consumership. Like, we do not have a serious consumer-based entity in Dominica that educates our consumership, that deals with consumer rights across the board, from telephone to all the services. Dominicans, nobody stands up for Dominicans in consumership. No one. Government has no entity that is catered towards taking care of our complaints and solving our problems in terms of service in any kind of sector in Dominica. You understand? And so when we deal with these things in terms of the situations, Lofty, the water issue, okay? If we set it up in a way and we see and educate our consumers, even if the water bottles come in, they don't have to sell. They don't have to sell. We don't have to do no arbitrary trade things to affect nobody. You're free to import. Bring your water in Dominica. But we as Dominicans should not be buying bottled water with the quality of water that we have running through our piping system. We should not be, we can look at different ways of filtering and treating our water. We can look at ultraviolet prospects instead of this chlorine. There's alternatives, and we can look at all those things. We have Dominicans who are qualified in the physics and the chemistry and the electrical aspects of water, of solving these water problems. Dominicans, we have qualified people who can deal with those things, who are doing those experiments internationally. You understand? So as a water country, bro, we should go back to drinking our water. We should go back to drinking our water. This addiction that Dominica has to bottled water, bro, is a problem. It's not an economically viable thing. We should not be spending the kind of water that we spend on bottled water in Dominica. It's unnecessary. Totally unnecessary.
Zed, as we're on that point, let me just drive home something in terms of a point that I heard Vince in Parliament. That is where Vince went out on a tirade, a very nasty, I must say, tongue-lashing mission against a local company here, Josephine Gabriel and Company, who, as a company, through thick and thin, have been there with our Dominican people, going through the grinds with us and providing water for us in Dominica, Zed. And whenever I drink water, whenever I buy water, I always choose my water, my people water, over any other water. And Vince Henderson, I don't know what he smoked back then, but this guy knew jolly well. He's speaking in Parliament against an indigenous business and going down that nasty road, talking about he buy water and the cap of the bottle always open sometimes. Basically trying to put these people in bad light where the public is concerned, knowing fully well what agenda they have behind them to sell our water to foreigners. I say, Vince, shame on you, my brother, because he knew jolly well Josephine Gabriel and Company, as a company who have stood the test of time in providing clean water for us with sealed covers. I never bought a bottle of water, Zed, from Josephine and Gabriel and Company with that allegation that Vince made about he having his bottle covers open as if somebody opened it already.
Yeah.
Vince is lying to his teeth because he knows the intention for our water in Dominica. So he's trying now to inject this sort of poison in the minds of Dominicans so that, like Charles Savre, they will not shop at, people will not buy the water at Josephine Gabriel and Company. We well remember Charles Savre, what he did to Brizimat. Basically had this man business shut down, cut down to its knees. And Vince is coming around today in 2025 trying that same old bullshit, for want of a better term. Vince, I say shame on you. He knows jolly well the management and staff of Josephine and Gabriel cannot come into parliament to respond to his utter garbage. But he, as a minister, went on that nasty, smelling, tongue lashing of Josephine Gabriel and company, talking about, oh, whenever he buy their waters, their cups are partially open. Vince, that is a lie from the pit of hell. And you know that. And so it really incensed me, Zed, when a man Vince, supposed to be grassroots in nature, if you have a qualm with an indigenous company, you go to them. You say, Ma Gabriel, whoever in charge, supervisor, whoever in charge, bring the evidence to them. But you don't go on that kind of a tirade and bring down a company that has been with us here through the thick and thin. These people could pack up and go, they have their money. But they're doing what they can to help Dominicans. And because he's scared and the cabal have the intention for our water to sell our water to a foreign company so that we are not the direct beneficiaries of our resource, he's coming up with this bull crap. Vince, I say, shame on you. Shame on you, Vince. Shame on this brother. I had a little respect for Vince, but to me, after Vince's utterances in parliament, that just left. It floored the window. And I am urging Dominicans now, when you meet Vince, you need to chastise Vince. Tell Vince straight in his face what he did against this indigenous company. It is wrong. And there should be some kind of retraction and apology from Vince. That foolishness must come to a halt. We cannot continue to have these quote-unquote men who are supposed to be serving us in this high prestigious office to just, rub things down our throat and we just stand by and say nothing and be prepared to do nothing. Vince should know in more ways than one what he did, what he said against that company. It should not be accepted in no way, shape, or form. I just say I would clear my chest.
Yeah, man. You see, Lofty, I'm glad you brought that up. So that comes back to Sanford's point. Now, a government and a people who are collectively, philosophically far left will not be engaged in that kind of behavior. That's why I tell you, these guys have no philosophy. You cannot class this government politically, philosophically, anywhere. They have no philosophical foundation of any kind. These people are principleless, and that's Vince. What you're seeing there is economic opportunity for he and Roosevelt. Same like what happened in Morocco and that hotel you see in Portsmouth. That's two of them hotel, That was a gift from Morocco for selling out black people, Vince is one of the most corrupt individuals you're going to find, bro. Principleless, Principleless, and that is exactly an example of it. He knew what he was doing because they already have their conversation with, and that's how these guys have conversations on development in Dominica. That's why it's always foreign. It's a deal across the table. They get their cut and invest. These guys just come into Dominica and do what the hell they want with us. And that is what's going to happen in that water thing if we don't take a stand. That's why I'm mad. That is why I'm mad, because the same thing is going to happen again that has been happening, bro. We are just giving away Dominica for nothing to foreigners. And I'm happy you brought up that point about Josephine Gabriel. It's intentional. Vince knew what he was doing, and that's what Vince is. This guy has no principle, none whatsoever. You understand? None. He goes anywhere Roosevelt said him, go and run over there, go foreign there, go do this. A real moose boy. Zero sort of principle and capacity philosophically, although a PhD. I don't understand what these guys go to school for. You understand? So that is the example of that same thing I'm telling you about. This is not a far left government. This is not a far right government. This is a government with absolutely zero political philosophy. They stand nowhere. The only thing that matters to them is their pockets.
And just to add to what I said before I forget that point, Vince said all what he said in Parliament. And the Speaker of the House, let me give him the respect in terms of the office. The Speaker of the House, supposed to be, sat down there, heard Vince, listened to Vince, went down on that tirade. with a local company here. And the man did not have the gall, the unmitigated gall, to say not one word in defense of his office and his position. And I say, shame on the holder of that office as well.
Yeah, man.
And we are, Zed, let me tell you something. This country, if Dominicans don't take a stand, as you said, this country are on the way to the dogs, and I make no apology for it, because
Lofty.
Where these guys are in terms of their dealings, their utterances against a people, I really wonder how much more can the Dominican people take. I really wonder, because these people are just not working in the interest of Dominicans, and I really wonder when will Dominicans rise up to understand not where we are, where we have been. And it is getting worse and worse and worse and worse. So like you said, our parrots gone. CBI money cannot be accounted for. You have people who are, young people who are strapped, have their degrees, have to be cleaning side of the roads. The employment situation in the country is nil or nothing. The government sector basically employs the majority of people in Dominica, and is, the mobility of the ladder is very, very stagnated. And the list goes on and on and on. If you go into our hospitals in Dominica, it's a 70-30 chance you may not come out alive. That's the reality. And it is just piling and piling and piling and piling on. While these guys continue to rip.
Lofty, even the airport, Lofty, we're building an airport that is more big, that is too much bigger than we need. We're spending money on an airport that we do not need in the capacity that we're spending, Lofty.
For our development, This project in Wesley, it is one of Roosevelt's trump card to remain on the back. Roosevelt doesn't want to give the people an airport, straight up. But promises after promises after promises after promises that have failed in that department, he now have to put his tail in his leg, as it is said, and do something. And he will come with a snap or whatever it is, soon come, and be piggybacking on that and tell the people, you need to put us back there so that can be a reality. And that is just how it is unfolding.
Airport, bro. And $500 million, an awesome airport, adequate for us, an expansion, an awesome airport. I don't know what we're spending that kind of money for. And that's why I tell you, the construction business in Dominica is inflated, because that is how the Dominica Labour Party supports itself. That is what is going on with all this airport. Even look at the grammar school, bro. Look at the grammar school.
Since this airport, since this whatever it is project airport started, a boat came from China thrice, with it being loaded with cement. Cement, not lumber, not nails, not cement, 3 times. And you know the kind of tonnage that this boat can hold.
Yeah,
so here now they're in Dominica, either the 3rd or 4th time, because that is my route. And so every time that boat is docked in port, I see with my eyes. And so these trucks go up and down, basically just, as we say in Dominica, mashing up our roads in Dominica.
Our roads are not made for that capacity.
What are they trying to do, with all that cement? It is to stabilize the soil that is not suited for a project of that magnitude.
And we have no right to have that.
All that has been going on up there. So that who play big, whatever it is, they're just trying to stabilize the soil there. If you're trying to put down a 20 by 30 house, and you got from the planning people, that house is not suited for there, because the area is waterlogged, it is swampy, it is drenched, it is, you go against the grain of that advice. Trying to put that house down in that waterlogged area and now have to pump cement after more cement after more cement in that area just to try to get a base to put that house on.
You understand?
And this is madness that is going on in Wesley's head. And in the process, the Wesley people, their health is at stake, their livelihoods at stake, and the country.
Yeah, the Marigot people too.
Is at a standstill.
It's crazy the amount it does. Lofty, this is just madness, man. It's just madness, you know. And I'm telling you, bro, that the civic aspect of the society, bro, it needs to be awakened. You know, I myself, you know, I hope to be home soon, you know, to help a hand with that. But I'm not blaming the government anymore, bro. The people have to take responsibility for their future, bro. The people have to take responsibility for their future. And if we do not put our foot down on this water issue, I don't know what else we're going to have to put our foot on. There will be nothing else to put our foot down on. But we should ensure that water becomes an economic entity for endemic wealth development. And if we do not ensure that happens, bro, we'll come like St. Martin, bro. We'll just be beggars in our homeland. Beggars working as serfs in hotel rooms and those kinds of jobs, while foreigners just keep cutting away all our wealth. That is what this government is gonna leave us into. You know, I want to applaud, you know, Brother Thompson for his plan and discussing the economics to the people and all those things. But we need a civic movement in the country to stand up for Dominicans, bro. Every time we talk about these things, we talk about them politically, and that's what destroys them. We need to have a civic conversation on the things that are affecting Dominicans. It is the best way that we can enforce an empowerment of our citizens to engage this government on our behalf for respect, because there is no respect unto the citizens from the government and the way that things are done in Dominica. No respect. And that is problematic.
Indeed. Zed, we have to wrap up in just a bit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, just drive home some points in terms of that all-important resource that you basically have that clarion call, calling out your Dominican people, asking us to, at least on this one, to stand in the positive.
Yeah. I don't think we have a choice, Lofty. I don't think we have a choice. Like I said, what more is left Dominican than water? If we do not control our water economically, what else can we call Dominican? The parrots are gone, the this are done, the geothermal gone to some Israeli company, free of charge after we spend how much? Almost 100 million. You know, it makes no sense, the decisions that this government is making on our behalf economically. No sense. We have a minister of biology playing minister of economics. You know, I went to school with Irvin, bro. Irvin knows nothing about economics. What is Irvin doing as finance minister of Dominica? Nothing. You understand? The brother that should be running the sports department or the health ministry. That's it. You know, nothing about economics. You know what I'm saying? So we are on a wrong track. And it's not just a political, the people have to take a stand and call for better governance in this country, bro. They have to take that stand, because unless you take that stand, that disrespect will continue. And we cannot allow this disrespect to continue, especially on the issue of water. Which is the last option we have to build some endemic wealth. If we don't, agriculture is already struggling through bad planning. Feeder roads non-existent with farmers wanting to work but cannot travel even to their ground to work. You understand? If we give up water, what else do we have, Lofty? Tell me. Infinite poverty.
Tell me as well.
Infinite poverty.
All right, Zed,
God bless, bro. Thanks for allowing, you know.
Let's take a verse or two from Spider, and then we'll ask you for your final or closing comments.
Yeah, man. God bless.
I don't need nobody to tell me what is going on in my country. Oh, I can see all the confusion. It's richity and division. We don't have a sound economy. Only hardship, stress, and misery. Those interests don't come from banana. Rusty gone and left us to suffer right and the Christmas season. 60 apples that were sold in tons. Day by day, Lord, we keep going down. For that is how we come. All your bananas gone, your cocoa on the ground. Still waiting for the vision to come. And to make matters worse, look the apparatus. Put a 5% sales tax on us. So we keep going down on the road to Sodom. And the whole country keeps going down slowly.
Spider said back then the whole country is going down slowly, huh? God bless you, brother Spider. Indeed, a very visionary man, I must say. Spider, I got news for you wherever you are. The country is at rock bottom now.
Real talk.
So we ain't going down slowly anymore, Spider.
I see little children dressed in red, crying and waving flag for the dead. I knew this would bring a curse on us. One day perfect things could get it worse.
All right, Zed, just before I continue, Spider, your final comments, my brother, before we leave here. Final comments, Zed.
Yeah, man, Lofty. Well, firstly, the brother Lucci that was on your late today, bro. I hope you can facilitate this brother my number. I would like to be in touch with this brother. That definitely, I want that first segment and, you know, his spirit. Yeah, I want to touch base with that brother. Lofty, like I tell you, bro, I am happy. I want to thank you for still keeping that civic vibe alive. And I know you don't have help. I know there's absence of soldiers, but you know, reinforcements soon come, you know, but we can do all these things, bro, but as long as we keep responding to our problems simply through political processes, that is part of the issue. We need to start responding to our problems through civic capacities, bro. They will be stronger, they will be healthier, they will be more empowered because they will cross political lines. But as long as we keep looking at our solutions through political perspectives, that is weakening our movement, especially in a polarized society as Dominica. And I just want to leave that point. And this water issue, Lofty, let us try to raise it and see how we can spread that word and see how we can raise some consciousness on this issue, because it is very, very important. It's like the last bastion, you know, that we have in terms of endemic resource and national pride in our country.
All right,
so I want to thank you this afternoon.
Thank you indeed. Much said. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Man. God bless. God bless.
I said those one silver land of gold, for my kingdom is not of this world.
So folks, that is it for us here on Civic Vibes. It's 8:13 Dominica. Let me just see if I could run through some comments before I leave here. Ferdinand Lawrence right here. If not water, then what? CBI is done. Ross is done. It must be water and agriculture. Chiquito Thomas writes, I could not even go on my land. No roads.
Yes, we keep losing all our blood.
Sam's right here. So there is no one in Dominica that they could give incentives to develop that project so that it can be locally owned. This man really don't like Dominicans.
We're going down slowly. Without that direction.
Chiquito Thomas writes, you all cannot allow these guys to win another election in Dominica, because if you all do, Dominica is done. Carolyn Warrington, all of you here, thank you very much for your eyes and ears each and every time, and great week ahead indeed. From the first segment, Mr. Luciano Dupy, the second segment, Brother Zed Lloyd, thank you very much, guys. Job well done.
Even if you stone me, I don't care. I can be a matter anywhere. Everything I sing tonight is true. I'm leaving the rest up to you. I hope you are not too blind to see the collision of you pass today. It's the news in your love in a Tony. After all in this damn tragedy, I tell you, we keep going down. Coney Island, that is how we come. Day by day, Lord.
So my friends in the region and those of you further afield, thank you very much as well for your company.
So we come. I said joy in my song, and it's all over tongue. That terror police is wrong. Should I go? Should I come? Should I stay? Should I run? When my mother become.
All of you, the Civic Vibes family out there. See you guys next week if the good Lord above is willing. Same time, same place. Bye-bye. I love you again.
We're going down slowly. Without good direction. Just slowly going down. I'm your chief on to sing whenever you do wrong. I'm your sing and you are my son. Gonna deal with the one who sheds the innocent blood and then makes him a savior, Lord. Slowly, slowly, going down slowly. Yet you fought and you read about national debt, yet you pay an oversized cabinet. But we keep going down on the road to shut down, and the old country keeps going down slowly. Slowly, slowly, going down slowly. Cross University, the Colgate industry.